All right, welcome everybody to the Disability Ministry Video Roundtable from Key Ministry. My name is Beth, and our topic today is Vacation Bible School, VBS, with disability in mind. And so we have invited you all to chime in with your experiences, with your questions. So I think what I'm going to do is start off by asking, and you can raise your hand or, hit a thumbs up or whatever. How many of you are in a church that is doing Vacation Bible School this summer? So almost everyone. I actually am with a church that does not do a Vacation Bible School. So, all right. So, and how many of you do a Vacation Bible School that is specifically geared to students with disabilities? So there's like a specific focus. So, okay, at least one. And then for those of you who are doing VBS, how many feel like you are able to accommodate well students that need differing amounts of support? So a couple of you. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to open it up. Would anybody like to start us off with either telling us what your church is doing or what you would love to do or just questions you have? I don't have an agenda here, so I'm just going to go ahead and open it up. And someone's going to have to say something. All right, Cynthia.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Dahlberg. I'm the Special Needs Ministry Director for First Baptist Indy Atlantic Church on the Space Coast in Florida. And we just finished up WindShape Camp, where we supported students with special needs with one-on-one buddies. And 2 weeks before that, we did our elementary age school
Meeting is being recorded.
VBS. And we supported students there that chose to join that one and with one-on-one buddies. And in one more week, we'll be having our special needs VBS, which I have never done a specific special needs VBS. I am new to this position and come out of California, where we only did inclusion VBS. So my big question is, we will be working with different crews that one is elementary age, one is high school age, one is young adult, and one is adult. And I don't know if anybody has done a multi-age event VBS like that before. So what's that going to look like is my big.
Right. So I love this. This is a great way to kick it off. So a couple things I'm hearing. One is you kind of mentioned like the inclusion VBS. Now you're getting ready to do one that's specifically for students with disabilities. I'm looking at Ryan Falk on my screen because when you said, does anybody do an event that has a lot of different age groups? And of course, I immediately think of family retreats. So, and that might be a good model. But okay, so tell me a little bit, Cynthia. So I know you're looking for advice on what this event specifically tailored for folks with disabilities, but what are some things in when you've done inclusive VBS, like what are some, I don't know, techniques or like what things have you put in place that have worked really well?
We use a buddy bag, hold on a sec.
Oh, we're getting a visual aid here. Okay. Show and tell.
This is our buddy bag.
Okay, so it's like kind of like a cinch sack backpack kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. It has a front pocket, and we have an emoji check-in chart to check in. Where are you feeling right now? Point to the chart, which is really helpful because I used it every day. Some of our students were verbal. But when they get really overstimulated, just these images really help. And this was a sticker sheet that I bought at Ollie's discount store.
Oh, so that's not even like a chart. That's literally an emoji sticker sheet.
Yeah, that I put on cardstock and I laminated it.
Okay.
So, and then um, so it has a poppet.
Okay.
This is, all right, we made these with Crossroads Kids Club, which I do Fridays, and that's inclusion too. And it's literally two craft sticks glued together in a cross with a piece of yarn. And we call it a meditation tool, but it's a fidget you can make yourself for very, very, very cheap.
Love
Um,
that idea.
and if you give all the kids in your small group one of these, then the student that needs it the most doesn't stand out, which I think is really super and important. And we had volunteers come and make them one afternoon, and we were done in about a half an hour, all of them, and we made 30 of these for our Friday group.
Did you
So
glue the string to the two
it's tied. It's just
sides?
tied.
Okay.
And then so it has a tangle in it. It has a bubble timer.
Okay.
And it has, so instead of using like a weighted wrap, which
Mhm.
in my past experience, they'll use like a bolo to,
Mhm.
and so we just use a bean bag. And it's just the feeling of you have weight and you can put it on their shoulder
Mhm.
and you can say, oh, is that a period on your shoulder? Be real kid careful. You don't want to scare the period away. And
Mhm.
so it just kind of helps for them to hold. They can toss it, they can squeeze it. Um, we have a stretchy noodle. This is my first year using the stretchy noodle. So the big rule with stretchy noodle is two hands. It needs two hands because otherwise they'll get ready to snap their friends.
Ah,
So as soon as you see this going on, that's when you have to intervene with a different toy and say, oh, would you rather have the snappy snake? And then they take the snappy snake and you don't use the stretchy noodle again.
got it.
So yeah, this one's been real helpful. So hey Finn, we use this as a chewy for our students that need it chewed, and then we put it on a lanyard. Of course, it's a breakaway lanyard, but just for sensory, for them to roll this around is pretty well.
Can you just describe it? I know, I'm pretty sure we have an individual on who will not be able to see what you're holding up.
It's called a monkey ring. Um,
Okay.
we got it on Amazon, so you're going to turn that down to low. And it's bendy. It stretches a little bit. Um, I haven't been able to break it yet. It has these spiky little, I don't know, they're like spikes, but they're not owie. But so it's good for them to chew.
Okay.
So then also in the front pocket, we have the giant hand sanitizer, the 3-ounce size. So this one of the students really chewed it. The other student like would roll it around on them and try and pull it and try and break it. So that worked really well. We have a squishy ball, just the stress ball that you get at all those different things. And then there's usually a type of a puzzle. So depending on your age student, this is like a super easy Rubik's Cube. You just have to push the ball to the next color.
Okay.
And so it's not hard at all. I have a miniature Etch-a-Sketch, which really helps in worship for our older students so that they can focus for that longer time. Wind shape, if you've ever done wind shape camp, their section in the middle of the day is like 45 minutes long. And I have problems focusing that long. So that was very challenging. So this helped one of our students. So, and this one has a spinner because we had, that was that child's specific interest was the spinner.
Mhm.
I don't prefer these because everybody in the row now wants a spinner. So instead of the spinner, I like these, which is the marble in the mesh fidget. Um, this one's great because it can be just kept in the hand. So everybody
Yeah.
doesn't see that that child has a fidget and they don't all want that fidget. So, and these are super cheap, these marble and mesh ones. I mean, I give them out to the engineers that my husband works with because they don't pay attention well either. So, it all goes in a cinch backpack, which is lightweight. We had it personalized with just our church name, not buddy bag,
Okay.
because we don't want our students to stand out. And then on the inside back, we identified just in Sharpie that this is special needs ministry material. It came in really, really handy for our students during like our small group time. Um, and another way that we accommodated our students during small group time because they were journaling is that we always said you can draw pictures,
Mhm.
you can tell me what to write, and I'll scribe for you. You can raise a hand and share with the group. You can act it out if you want. We used to joke in public. I was a public school teacher for special needs for 16 years. And we used to say, you can do interpretive dance for your answer as our like standard joke, because it's fine. As
Yeah.
long as they're communicating, that's what we were hoping for. So the buddy bag was a huge support. We always placed our students in the grade that they were in.
Okay.
We had parents that requested the students go into a lower grade because of their behavior, and we said that that's not what they would be done in school.
Okay.
So it's really important to reflect the treatment that they're receiving in their school system. So we always place them in that specific grade that they were. It worked really well. Um, what was great was on our intake form, we ask, sometimes they do reply, but we ask, is your student assisted with an IEP or a 504? Are
Mhm.
there triggers? Are there health concerns? What are the calming strategies that you use? We had one parent that didn't tell us anything about our student, and we didn't know until they showed up with a behavioral aid by their side. And then we had another parent that I had a huge email conversation about everything that we could do to help. And of course, the parent that gave me that big conversation, that one was extremely successful.
Mhm.
A wonderful, wonderful experience, and by everyone, the team leader, the students that were in the group with him, everyone had wonderful things to say. The other student, there were a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
So
When you have no idea. Yeah.
exactly. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Thank
that
you. That was
yeah.
I mean, I was taking some notes on things to have in the buddy bag. That's awesome. Thank
So
you.
Overcomer Ministry
Yep.
has a website,
Mhm.
and they have a lot of really good things, but they have a whole sensory tip sheet, and they have QR codes linked to the different things that we have. We also offer kick bands and wobble seats to our
Mhm.
leaders if they need to add those. And then they also have a handout that's calming and alerting strategies that we give to all our volunteers at volunteer training. And they have a sensory friendly church kind of booklet that
Mhm.
we printed out and we also gave to our volunteers at volunteer training. So that's Overcomer Ministries
Yeah,
Inc.
and we will put this link
Good.
because it's and if anybody wants to throw it in the chat, please go ahead and do that. But we will they have fantastic resources. So we will put the link to Overcomer Ministries in when we post this on Vimeo and YouTube.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So, and I ran into them at the Orlando
Yep.
conference that you guys did, which was wonderful. I learned wonderful things there. And that's what I said when I ran into them. I'm like, well, you've done all my work for me.
Right,
Some
exactly.
are so easy.
Yeah,
So
good stuff. So definitely check that out.
awesome.
Thank you. This is fantastic. All right, who would like to go next with either a question or to share what you're doing?
I'll say we did our first shot at this year,
Okay.
and it was an experience. I got some good feedback, but we did one-on-one buddies. We limited ourselves to 5 to 13-year-olds.
Mhm.
It was a 2 hour Saturday and 2 hours Sunday after church event. We on registration, we also asked for triggers, those comforts, and we also added favorite snacks,
Mm.
those things that hopefully were going to be helpful with the kids. In that, we did it just before our regular VBS, and so the decorations and the room size in our feedback, room size was way too big.
Mm.
And the decorations were way overwhelming. We did have someone who works with special needs give us a lunchtime training to the volunteers, to all the one-on-one volunteers prior to this, but with the what's the word I'm looking for? The overstimulation.
Mm.
It did set off some things right at the beginning, which wasn't a good set. But we did have parents stay. They stayed in the other room aside from us, and were able to enjoy the time. The respite that it provided was one of the greatest benefits of putting this on. But it was our introduction to working with special needs at our church here in Sarasota, Florida. We were also, I was very ambitious looking at a program, kind of doing a very trimmed down version of what we were doing during our regular VBS, the Monday through Friday, right after this. It still didn't bring it down enough for folks that we did have. So in just hearing some things from the woman who just spoke, that communication prior to really needs to take place next year. I've got everybody who wants to come back and do it again.
That's good.
But being able to communicate and really kind of filter out, okay, exactly what's going on. What are we going to encounter so that we can minister to your child the best we can. Some other feedback that we got. We did an obstacle course as part of our VBS. We threw that in, and that was an absolute hit. The buddy system, just I can't promote that enough. We also did buddy bags, but we did it indifferently. Rather than just a bag, we had extra volunteers who manned a table with some, they were tucked away, just various things we got from Oriental Trading and Amazon, which at the end, each of them got a bag with whatever it was, whether it was some sort of fidget or some sort of ball or something that they could manipulate during the time. Some of the crafts also we tried to do were over their heads, but with a buddy there was assistance and there was some fun and even trying to do it. So it did work, but we do need to for next year. Just that foresight of we need to taper it down even more. One of the things that we talked about was kind of training. We did receive the training, but just a general question to you or to the group. Can you really be trained enough, or is it really coming through experience?
I mean, I would say that there are definitely some kind of across the board safety, general best practices, a few strategies. I mean, equipping your volunteers with things like, helping, um, helping with giving choices, but very
Mhm.
limited choices of, two acceptable two acceptable choices instead of like, what do you want to do? Limit it further and say, would you like to do this or would you like to do this? Um, just
That came out
equipping
of
your
that training.
volunteers with some general best practices. But I mean, my personal feeling is there's always going to be learning that happens kind of on the job. And
Mhm.
every child, every situation is so unique. So there's always the opportunity to learn more during the event and as you prepare for the
Experience.
future. I'm really glad that you're already thinking about next year. I have a question. You mentioned that the parents stayed on site in an area adjacent to VBS. Um, were they kind of on their own? Like it was just a couple hour respite for them? Was there any kind of like intentional programming for them, or was it really just, hey, stick around, but do whatever you want?
We had coffee, snacks, and a dedicated volunteer for them
Okay.
to interact with them. And they just enjoyed chatting with one another and with the
So
volunteer.
was there a lot of interaction among?
There was some interaction,
Oh, good.
yes.
Okay, great.
Another, we did have some of that training, just still felt like, man, we just aren't prepared for this um, because we were new to it, except the one woman who was very good and knew a lot of these general things and taught us. Just some of us didn't retain the training. The other question I have for you is, we received basically, nonverbal, autistic, wide spectrum,
Mhm,
but no physical disabilities.
mhm.
And I'm curious as to the other folks who have done this. Are you getting more on the autistic, uh, more in the autistic realm, or physically disabled folks?
Yeah, would anybody like to answer that? How about on Sunday mornings? Do you see more in your like Sunday school, whatever your setting is?
For our building, we've got a couple of buildings, and one is not conducive. We do have all the ADA things, but it's not best suited, and so we don't have an awful lot that come. We have some CP folks, but not in the children's ministry anymore. They've matured. So we're not seeing that, but we do have a whole bunch of adult folks that are coming that actually do sit in the service or in the special area, just because of some noises and things that they make, and those caring for them go into the area that's permissible to talk during the service. And that's one of the things that we talked about, is a potential adult, older youth type VBS.
Yeah. So, and Cynthia, no, who said, Cynthia, you're going to be doing different age groups, right?
So this is our third year that we'll be doing a special needs specific VBS. And the first year it was primarily, we had 8 students or participants. They were all adult and they were primarily Down syndrome. The next year we were up to 13 and primarily Down syndrome, but a few autistic. And this year we're at 25.
Oh, wow.
And we have a big range. And so when we went to the conference, we were constantly told, if you build it, they will come. And I know that to be true. And yeah, that's what has happened. And we had to keep pushing our cap and recruiting more buddies and recruiting more buddies. We do have we have ADHD. We have the big challenge at WinShape Camp was our student that was ODD, which is oppositional defiant disorder. We had Noonan syndrome, which was new to me, and I've been in this industry 29 years. I had to look that one up, which is really helpful when they tell you what the condition is. It's awesome because the internet's got great information, and so I was able to really be prepared for that student. We have hearing impaired adults. We have a sight impaired adult. What was really awesome this year is one of our peer models was a 9th grade young lady who is in a wheelchair. And so which was wonderful because it was right in the face of our leadership that we need to be able to accommodate wheelchairs. So we had to scramble and change some room assignments around. But there was always a way. There is always a way to accommodate everyone. So
Absolutely. Alan.
Yes, you have numbers. What percentage of the participants are those with disabilities? You talk about 8 or 13. What kind of percentages is that? And secondly, how did you advertise in order to encourage the communities you are in to feel comfortable coming? What kind of prep did you do for your community outreach to say, yes, we would like those with disabilities to come?
So we put together a roundtable just like this one, a coalition of other churches that have disability programs or have special needs programs. First Baptist Merritt Island does the Buddy Break program. First Baptist, one of the Calvaries that they meet with us, the church at Vieira meets at us. They were also at the conference, Church at Vieira. And First Baptist Merritt Island were at the conference. And there's about 5 different churches. And we were during the year, it's been a little busy this summer, but during the year we were meeting every month and just having a lunch meeting. And then we invited the Mental Health Coalition to the roundtable, and we invited the Down Syndrome Association to the roundtable. So during that time, everybody just tells us what they're doing. We just kind of, we don't want to, like, if we have a glow party in October, we don't want to be at the same time that First Baptist, Merritt Island is having their Halloween event. So we found that that's very helpful. And that is how we have grown the most. The other thing we did do is we let our ESE department at Brevard Public School District, that's our exceptional student education group, we let them know what we were doing. And we asked them to send an email out to their special education teachers to let them know what we are doing. For our public schools, that's your first big line of contact with the parents is through their teacher.
So Cynthia's talking my language because I love when, as churches, we can collaborate, first of all, with each other, because we can better reach, the community. And then secondly, collaborating with other organizations, with the school districts. I mean, this is huge. And when we can work together, we are reaching more individuals impacted by disability in the community. But we're also, we're showing Jesus to the surrounding community. And I'm looking at Al now because we'll get on our Night to Shine soapbox, but people will participate in things like Night to Shine, as volunteers, as buddies or whatever, when they would never otherwise think about stepping foot in the church. And they are seeing Jesus when they are at a Night to Shine event, just because of the way, I mean, just the atmosphere and it's just, I'll stop here. But so I'm a huge fan of collaborating, that our ministries should be collaborating with other churches, with organizations in the area, and with the school districts. And let me tell you, if you can get into the school district, either through like whatever yours is called, but the special ed department, or it has all different names depending on your geographic region, but or with an administrator, if you get the ability to share what's going on in your ministry with families through the school district, huge. Also, if you can tap into some of the student groups for volunteers, also huge. So I encourage you to, to seek out some of those relationships. And I love that in your geographic area, you're meeting on a monthly basis, or, trying to meet on a monthly basis. That's great.
What's
And
that coalition? What's that coalition that you formed?
It's just a special needs coalition. And we just contacted other churches in the area. We just called them and said, do you have a special needs ministry? And if they said yes, we invited them to lunch. And we
another great way, I'm going to put a Johnny and Friends plug here. And if either of you that are on here want to talk about it, but because I think there's at least 2 of you on here. Well, I'll let one of you talk about it. Does anybody, Randy or Ryan or anybody? I don't think Ryan's on anymore.
I'll defer to Ryan if he gets back on. But hey, everybody, my name is Randy, and Cynthia, I want to follow up with you as well, because I just have started in the position as ministry relations manager in Florida. But one big support that we have, that we really focus on, is building these networks and supporting these networks as well. And that's really kind of our main drive with you guys, is thinking about what does it look like for us to help you accomplish your mission, the mission of your church, as that includes people living with disabilities. And so we'll be in Florida, Cynthia, monthly. I'd like to kind of join in what you guys are doing, but also considering starting a monthly kind of get together like this, like a roundtable idea, with Florida churches and different networks depending on your geographic region. So obviously we'll start with all of Florida, but just to be that resource and support is such a huge part of this, because you guys are the ones doing the work day by day, Sunday by Sunday, Sunday through Sunday, right? And that's so important. And I wanted to maybe mention this, and this I don't want to derail, but just while I'm talking, I wonder from all you guys too about what you've experienced VBS like compared to Sunday. Beth, you brought that up before, but just in general, church ministry, VBS is going to bring people from your neighborhoods, right, that you're not going to see typically, and maybe you see a couple of years in a row at VBS, and hopefully this is a way that these families connect. So as you're doing that, right, you're going to be surprised by who comes in, right? And like you said, there's going to be a lot of learning. And Cameron, you pointed that out, of how much of this is training and how much of this just you're going to find out when they come, right? But anyways, yeah. So in your local areas, depending on where you live, it'd be really helpful to look up a Johnny and Friends office in your area. I think we're national, right? All the people here are from different places, and there'll probably be a church network meeting that's there doing the same kind of work.
Yeah, and some of the church network meetings are virtual as well.
Yeah.
So I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, and the Northeast Ohio group kind of alternates between in-person and Zoom. So I cannot recommend enough. It's really important that we as ministry leaders have the opportunity to connect with each other. First of all, to get ideas. But second of all, how can we better serve our communities? But also we need to be support for each other and encourage each other. And I think you all know, but once a month, on the first Monday of every month, Key Ministry hosts an idea share. And a lot of that's kind of what we do, is resource, ask questions, answer questions, and just encourage and support each other. I want to go back because Alan did ask a question about what percentage of those 8, 13, 25 are individuals with disabilities. And I think the answer is 100%, because I think you were talking about, or maybe not.
So when we have the special needs VBS, that's 100%. So that's, we do have, that doesn't count our peer models. So in each of our age group, we have a peer model that is performing the expected behavior, which is really, it's super, because you can say, oh, look, Johnny is sitting in his chair right now at the table. He's getting out his devotional. We're going to do some work now. So that's really, those are our volunteer students, are their children that are doing that, or my children that I've decided this is what you're going to do, and they get voluntold. But they love it. Like, I have a 16-year-old son who will volunteer at all 3 of our camps this summer. And when people ask him, he says, because I like volunteering. And he does have a servant heart. And I think that that's important. And so you need to find those people too. Not only the people that want to be buddies and the people that want to run the crafts rotation and can figure out how to make the crafts simpler and the games simpler. But also students or adults, if you're doing adults, that will model the behavior you're expecting in the group. The percentage of students that or people we have that have disability in our church, I have not polled that number. In my Sunday school class, I teach kinder in 1st grade, and on a regular basis, we have 12 students, and 3 to 4 of them have special needs.
And probably more have hidden disabilities that, you know.
Yeah, and that's not, they have special needs on paper. That's me as an education specialist going, okay, this one is this one's he's on the spectrum. So whether I get more of them because I tell parents that they are welcome. And that's another thing. If I hear a student say, my brother doesn't come to Sunday school because he yells out a lot, I stop when that parent comes to pick up, and I let them know that their child is welcome, especially in my classroom. And that's just part of it. One of the biggest ways to recruit volunteers, I learned at the conference, was you ask people if they can be a friend. And after our regular VBS, I printed out little cards that says, you are a fantastic friend. Please pray about being part of our special needs ministry. And I got about 10 extra volunteers that way. So that's really just the easiest thing. You know, will you pray? Will you take the next 2 weeks to pray about being a special needs volunteer? Another big thing I say in training, this goes out to Cameron, it's not about persevering patiently to be a special needs volunteer. It's all about problem solving. So if you know people that are great problem solvers, that think on their feet, that don't get frustrated, that can always come up with another plan, then those are the people you want to recruit, because that's what it is. It's trying to put out the fire before the fire starts.
Thank you.
Yeah, Cameron.
Question on parents who come and have never been there before, and the child is reserved and the parent basically won't let go. We had one that came, and because the child didn't feel secure, and mom and dad had confessed to us that they had never let this child out of their sight, and he's 5 years old. And then immediately gave him a phone to play and watch video games. How do you deal with that? Because, you know, we spoke to her, tried to address her lovingly, invited her back, But after 10 minutes of trying to see if we could coax her to leave him with us and without the phone, she chose to just leave with her two other siblings. So how do you deal with that? Can you? I mean, we prayed and see what God would do, but that was a situation we encountered.
Would anybody like to share? Yes, Julie.
As a parent of a child that has significant needs, especially when she was younger, now they're not so much prominent. I feel for that parent. I really do. 5 is young. We feel like it's older for a typically aged child, typically developing child, that by that age, they should be able to leave their parents and go in and, do what 5-year-olds do. But there's a story behind what's going on with that family. And so I would say that your church could reach out to the family as a whole, invite them into whatever it is that you have in your church, whether it's a playground, whether it's, something that's just fun for kids, and just let the whole family come and hang out and build trust with them, with some volunteers. Maybe that's students, maybe that's adults, maybe that is you and, somebody in leadership. I think that trust needs to be built. There's a story behind what's going on with this family, and it's painful for them. So that would be my advice in that scenario. Instead of, yes, keep inviting them to the things that you're doing that are big, but I think this family needs a little bit of extra TLC, just themselves. Mom needs to be able to let go, and that is hard with a special needs child. It's hard with a typically developing child if you're attached anyway, but with a special needs child, there could have been things that have gone on with that child that have been less than optimal, and they need to build trust with you.
Thank you.
No, that's really good advice, Julie. Along the same lines, the mom, perhaps she's somebody who experiences anxiety. And so she may be having just as tough of a time as the kid. And so just kind of keeping that in mind sometimes, and, how can we kind of meet her needs as well, that would put her in a situation where she's comfortable enough to consider participating.
Right. I mean, we were hoping, because it was just one room away, I mean, opening the door and she would be right there. But, and it looked like progress was happening, and the discussion by some loving folks who were chatting with them. But once the phone went into the child's face, gone.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Cynthia, is that something you do, that you don't let kids bring devices or?
No phones, and that means the volunteers. So the program, well, Sunday school is an hour and a half. You can be without your phone for an hour and a half. You're not going to die, I promise.
But in your VBS big events,
so in VBS we asked, and it was hard because with WinShape Camp it was all day long, and the way they had it structured is, like I kept saying, this is not my circus. These are not my monkeys. I am just here to support as a one-on-one and make sure my other one-on-ones have what they need. But they had volunteers with students all day long without scheduled breaks away from children, which should never, ever happen. And I did give a lot of positive feedback to them. I have worked in children's programming with and without, well, pretty much with students with special needs for 29 years. And for big ones, YMCA, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts. And that's not okay. In a labor standpoint, volunteers are workers. And so that one big thing is no phones. So if you need to use a phone, if you need to, you desperate that you've got kids in childcare and you need to take that call, you step outside of the environment to take that call. Because if we want children off the phone, then the volunteers are off the phone.
Right. It's not so much the volunteers, it's the
students. So
it's the
that for you
parents giving it to the children or the participants.
to the parents that this is a no phone zone, that we have fun activities planned. You share the schedule with the parents so that they know that there are bathroom breaks worked in, there are snack times worked in, that if they would feel the need to pick up their student early, that is fine. You can invite parents to training so that they feel, again, you're establishing that trust so that they can see that your volunteers are trained. You know, I'm an education specialist, so I trained, and we had handouts, and we had hands-on, and we had roundtable kind of things. Like, if the student is doing this, who can help? What can you say? What can you do? And it's my goal to have training quarterly. So right now we have quarterly events, and before every quarterly event, we have another training. So you can support with all that stuff. Like you said, having that obstacle course was super. So you want feedback like that. How can we do that with other events? Have some type of game or obstacle course that they can handle. The craft was too hard. Okay, super. How do we make that craft easier? And I did that this time. Like, this is the first year where our theme for special needs VBS matches the theme for elementary VBS. And I pushed and pushed and pushed, and I got my way, because we want those special needs students to be able to meet with their regular students and say, yeah, my favorite dance was Start the Party. Mine was too. Because we want them as included as possible. The more they are included, the better. So the biggest thing is to establish trust, be talking to that mom, be sending those emails, invite them to other children's events so that they can see that this is a safe place. And I agree, something happened to this family and they are scared. So you need to just really, and thank them when they do bring their child. Thank them. Thank you. Thank you so much for letting so-and-so attend this event. I know it was really hard for you to let go, but he was safe. He had this much fun. If you have video and picture permission for that child, send those pictures to the parent. Follow up and say, here's so-and-so. They built a marble tower with 4 other students. Everyone took turns. Everyone shared. So that's kind of, you just have to keep trying. You have to keep inviting. And like I said, invite the parents to the training, because maybe
I like that idea.
Things too. And we always have, we have a student, one of our students who did not want to come to Sunday school class, and he's on the spectrum. And so we were like, oh, can you write the verse on the board for us? I didn't care if it was illegible or not. It was just like, I have all these colors of expo markers. And so that was a big draw. Another one, it was like, can you set out the chairs for us? I'm going to need a lot of help this morning. Or have their favorite toy or game ready for them. Oh, I've got the Old Testament, New Testament sorting boxes. I know you could help me out. They're all mixed up. And so get them involved, get them right away and away from the parent. And let the parent know it's okay. We have 2 other volunteers here today. So if he needs a one-on-one, we're ready. So that's the biggest things. And smiles, always smiles. It doesn't matter how frustrated you are, you're always smiling. So that reassures the parent. But if you're like, oh no, it's this child again, then they're not going to leave their kid for sure.
I love it. That's really good advice. Thank you. Excellent. Any other comments or questions before we go? Yes, Julie.
I just want to thank Cynthia for coming today.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
We have been royally blessed by you today. So thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Cynthia. This has been fabulous information. I was taking notes on some things. Like I said, we will post this video on our YouTube and Vimeo channels and on our website. And I'm really excited about our next month's topic too. So Steph Hubach, who many of you know, is going to join us to talk. She's going to, the topic she presented on at the Disability in the Church conference, she had way more to say and people had way more questions than she had time for. And so we're just going to continue that conversation. And the title is Oil and Water when it's something like, who has it handy? I want to get it right, but I'm not going to say it because I want to get it right.
It's something like when the culture of your special needs ministry doesn't match that of your church.
It's
Like
when disability culture and
oh no, the world.
When the world and like the gospel, yeah. And so it's a really important conversation, and I think it's going to be a really good one. So that is the third Wednesday of every month. So this will be in August. And since you all are on this call, you will receive an invitation to that one. And anybody else that's watching this on the recording, go to keyministry.org/events. Yes, Randy.
Yeah, just a question on that. Is her speech from that conference posted somewhere that we can kind of catch up?
Oh, because it was a workshop and we did not record to share the workshops. She'll bring us up to speed because I didn't go to the workshop either, but I've heard her talk on this subject before and phenomenal. So that's my plug. Julie.
The official title is Disability Ministry Video Roundtable, Oil and Water. How do we respond when the values of disability culture don't mix with kingdom values?
There we go. Beautiful title. Okay. So yes, so plan to be, we'll see you all back here on the third Wednesday of August. Thank you very much and continue having a good summer.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.